What's up, guys? Dan here to give you a little bit of a outlook on the week. Okay, so let's just kind of recap last week on the S&P 500. We're going to look at both the S&P 500. We're going to look at the NQ, the NASDAQ, and give you a little bit of the major structures that I'm looking at moving into this week, May the 6th. Okay, so last week we had this B-shaped profile. We had this capital B. We had accumulation down here. We had this early week sell-off. We had that Monday inside, essentially chop day. Tuesday was a sell-off. Wednesday we had that FOMC day, had that big rally, followed by an immediate sell-off. For whatever reason, that's the pattern we took that day. Thursday had that little bit of a recovery and cash session rally into Friday's more accumulation overnight, and then that follow through on that cash session to take out that weekly high and rally us up to where we are today. At those last weekly highs, we broke this as of this moment, we gapped up on the open for the overnight, and we're kind of trickling back down into last week's value area. This is a weekly profile, by the way. Okay, so what we're looking for is for to see if the bulls can follow through. If this is just a back and forth week, and we're going to rotate back down, or we're going to break back out. So what am I going to be looking for to kind of trigger those sentiments here? So we'll put a weekly high on top here. I'm going to want to see weekly high get taken out. This 51.44 and a quarter is going to have to hold, in my opinion, or get quickly recovered, because it's going to be very difficult to move to the upside if we don't get through this P or stay above this POC. So I'd look for that to be a kind of a bounce point in the overnight, and we'll assess that as the market opens up in the morning to see what is what on that front. We've got some thin prints down here, but essentially what I'd be looking for is this untested value area up here. Essentially this untested value area up here to break into if we're going to indeed move to the bullish side. Don't know if that would be early in the week, late in the week. If we move to the upside, don't know. But I assume after we took out last week's high, last week we took out the prior week's high, so I would assume that we're going to try to move up and take out 5,200 kind of be that next likely target level. A few stops along the way at 82, 51.82, and then if we break above 5,200, that's that 52.13 level, and then a little bit of a thin print up in here, up all the way up to that 52.50 level, that top side of that value area for that open week. If we do indeed move back down to the downside and this breaks to the downside, I would look for a pretty quick value area retracement and then start seeking 5,100. So we'd break through here. We'd break through this little thin print right in here. This little low volume node on the ES, and then break down to that 5,100 and so on down the line. As we look to these swing lows as potential targets on the way down. If we get real bearish, that 5,000, it's not out of a realm of possibility for that to get retested, and it's not out of the realm of possibility for us to get back up to that 5,300 level way up top here. But we'll assess those levels as price gets there. But initially what I'm looking for is follow through to the upside, a break of prior week high, and move into that untested value area up top at that 51.82. That's what I'll be looking for on the broader scale of things. And to the downside, that 51.44 is what I'll look for to hold. If that breaks, then we start playing to the downside. Okay, let's move over to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, very similar structure, obviously. As Monday, we had that consolidation day last week. Tuesday, we had that sell-off. Wednesday was that FOMC day, that rally and drop, that heavy rejection that got bought right back up the next day. We had that cash session rally, and then we had that Friday follow through to the upside, took out that weekly high, and took out the prior week high, and moved up top. And again, right now, we gapped up off the open, and we are trickling back down into value area. I would look for some oscillation back and forth overnight, but we'll kind of assess that again as price carries on. But what I'm looking for, again, same thing. I'm looking for that break of the prior week high, which was right here. So I'll look for that break of what was this be 50 18050 and 3/4 is what I would look for, and then I would see that shift on up to this untested value area at 18150, call it. And then there's that POC way up at the top here. There's a little bit of structure here at 18223, so I would say I would look for that as well on the way up. And then obviously this swing high way up here if we start to get pretty extended to the upside. But that initial move, what I'm looking for is VWAP to get broken here. And this, if we move to that downside, if that downside move is indeed the way we're going to go, 17,894, break to the downside and start to play these swings as targets to the downside, and that look for that retrace, that value area retrace on the week. That would be as this rally came up so quickly, it can just easily flip back to that downside. So that's what I'll be looking for on both of these markets. Hope that was helpful. If you want some day-to-day guidance, I should say, if you want some day-to-day material to read, go ahead and check out my Substack. It's linked in my YouTube channel up at the top. I do a very deep dive into the S&P 500 on a daily basis and give you some daily structure levels on a daily profile as the and a recap of each of the trading days. So check that out, and we'll see you next week for my next outlook. Thanks, guys.